Oh, the tale of Mr. Gomez, who resided in Spain and started off as a doorman before working in the firm of National Plastics and Product Sales at the age of 17. After working on the machinery, he became the logistics manager and was in charge of the product completion. Afterwards, he oversaw exports and wholesale sales. He was frequently let go from jobs because he didn't feel comfortable, not because he didn't perform his job properly. His performance was so good that he was allowed to switch locations. Still, he harbored a secret desire to know how this corporation operated. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Eventually, Mr. Gomez was integrated into the company's marketing divisions and sub-brands, which were once known as public sale and advertising. He visited every department in the organization, but something told him that the buyers department was the center of the enterprise when he started interacting with them. He believed that the company's general manager ought to remain there. By coincidence, the original owner's son took over after his father passed away one day. Mr. Gomez was offered the chance to negotiate a business that originated in China during those days when he was not present. Ever the learner, Mr. Gomez had picked up a few words in the language used by the officials of the aforementioned firm. The pivotal moment that propelled him and the firm ahead came when he employed a guy to act as an interpreter to speak Mandarin. The agreements and the manner in which the meeting was conducted left the representatives of that firm really happy. As a result, the company's foundation was built on raw material exchanges and exports. Mr. Gomez went above and beyond standard bargaining tactics by acquiring brand new cutting-edge equipment for the production of plastics. This agreement made it possible for the business to serve clients not only in his nation, but also in neighboring European nations, a very amazing accomplishment. As the years went by, the company's board of shareholders included him as a result of his outstanding performance. He consistently defied convention and, through perseverance and hard effort, rose to prominence in his area. He didn't give his age any thought and carried on with his business as normal when he reached 55. The top leadership of the company gave the order to appoint a young guy as his assistant one day. Mr. Gomez was baffled as to why this had occurred. Despite the company's growth of up to 22% every quarter for a year, he showed no resistance and let the young man help him. But the young man watched every step he took with great attention, and he actually started to pick up on everything Mr. Gomez did. Mr. Gomez felt uneasy about this at work. The young man was continually asking questions and carrying a notepad. When Mr. Gomez could take it no longer, he made the decision to talk to the business owner. He tried unsuccessfully at first, and the shareholders' meeting heard his argument. Mr. Gomez refused to be handled like any other individual or worker. Taking his car, he traveled 500 kilometers to speak with the owner, who was attending a family gathering. "No, you're busy, and you cannot attend to me while I take care of your business," he remarked, surprising the owner with his arrival. The owner was confused by something about Mr. Gomez and treated him like a non-issue, telling him to, "Sit down, look, my good friend, I think you should retire now. You should relax, since you're exhausted. I'm not precisely sure what you're considering." The owner answered, "You're 60 years old already. Naturally, I'm going to pass away, right?" Mr. Gomez halted. "Well, Mr. Gomez, I still feel completely capable of helping you, but I won't argue if you don't think I will. But I won't retire since all you would give me would be a liquidation followed by a pitiful income that won't be enough for me at all. I'll provide, boy. You have two choices. First, you willingly give me 30% of your shares. However, because I don't think you'll do it and these things won't happen, I have another choice. Look, youngster, you have no business acumen." The proprietor attempted to divert attention, but Mr. Gomez blocked him. "And my second choice is this." Mr. Gomez pointed a quivering finger at the sky and said, "Listen to me, because this may be the last time you see my face this sad. I've worked for this firm my entire life. I promised your father that I would be a good worker, and I assured him that we would do this. Regretfully, you have every right to believe differently than he does. I want you to provide me the liquidity you believe is appropriate for my worth and to treble my income in the year that I leave the firm. I will then retire after that." Despite being silent, the business owner granted his request. He said, "Oh, and I do not need you to give me an apprentice," as Mr. Gomez was already on his way out. "You don't need to know anything about this elderly man's expertise because he is an expert in everything. My apprentice is already with me." After saying this, Mr. Gomez got into his old Mercedes and drove away. Everything went according to plan, and the business continued to grow. Mr. Gomez was paid his wages and obtained a sizable settlement from the corporation's owner, but he refused to collect a retirement benefit. Mr. Gomez then departed. Mr. Gomez stopped purchasing because he couldn't find anyone he could trust, and the business had its first crisis in years. They went to the apprentice, who had graduated with honors, who was in charge of the task. The proprietor contacted the top experts to determine what was going on with sales and why they were dropping so sharply, but they were hardly able to reverse the trend. There was no getting past the fact that growth had ceased and the company's stock price was in jeopardy. The proprietor was unaware of Mr. Gomez's secret. He was friendly with the behemoth of plastics, 65% of the top importers and purchasers of both exported goods and raw materials. Mr. Gomez told all of his buddies over the phone that he was going to start his own company in a month. He didn't, however, grovel for money or business. All he wanted to do was spend his birthday visiting each of the giants made of plastic. "Friends, it's my birthday and I would like to celebrate by visiting you in your homes," was the brief message. Nobody turned down that offer. While it was well knowledge that Mr. Gomez had gone away, he had left guidance for his apprentice and future company president, his grandson. "Make friends with everyone who supports our trips. We know them all. They are friends with knowledge and ambitions, not simply numbers and tickets. If you know the people that feed you, you don't need to know as much. Consider everyone other how God views you." It's also important to note that, in contrast to the powerhouse in plastics, Gomez Corporation, the other company seldom ever sells throughout the country. I appreciate you seeing. Would you kindly like and post the video on social media? We'll respond to you as soon as we can. The world's strongest canines are capable of the following. Since people and dogs have coexisted for so long, we are now dependent on one another. Dogs make wonderful pets and wonderful friends. They are robust, devoted, and energetic. To them, we are everything, and they are our closest friends. We adore them, but they love us more. A dog is a person who puts your needs before of his own. On the other hand, there are several dog breeds worldwide. Some are little, some enormous, some tiny like insects, and some incredibly strong like pit bulls. This list is for you if you've ever wondered who the strongest dogs in the world are. Argentina's Great Dane, large, white, and muscular. The Dogo Argentino is a breed of dog that originated in Argentina and was bred mainly for big game hunting, especially the hunting of wild boar. Antonio Norris Martinez, the breeder, also desired a dog capable of unwavering bravery and selfless protection of its human friends. In 1928, it was initially bred from the Cordoba dog, along with a variety of other breeds such as the Great Dane. Measured at the withers, the breed standard height for females is 60-65 centimeters, while for males it is 60-68 centimeters. Weight falls between 40 and 45 kilograms. The body's length is somewhat more than its height. One half of the dog's height at the withers is about equivalent to the length of the front leg, measured from the point of elbow to the ground. When seen in profile, the muzzle is somewhat taller at the nose than it is at the stop, and the head has a wide, slightly domed cranium. The tail tapers to a tip and is positioned low with a thick base. In addition to being skilled hunters of large game, Dogos are also trained in search and rescue, law enforcement support, service dog training, blind guide dog training, Schutzhund training, and military duties. The Dogo is a brave, clever dog with a strong innate desire to defend its family. Being part of all family activities brings Dogos the most happiness since they are highly social dogs. Dogos need to be well trained and socialized from a young age forward, since they have a strong sense of family against outsiders. Pit bulls. The medium-sized American Pit Bull Terrier has short hair. Their bodies are athletic and they have terrific muscles. Pit bulls are natural fighters because of their powerful physique. They were bred for combat. They are powerful, quick, and nimble. Although pit bulls are notorious for being violent animals, they actually have a rather mild temperament. They are devoted and incredibly gentle dogs. They can readily interact with others if given the right instruction. Playing with little children, American pit bulls do not lose their patience and they get along well with other pets. Contrary to popular belief, American pit bulls are neither vicious or deadly dogs. Like many other dogs, they are magnificent canines. They will be nice and docile if educated correctly. They are a dog breed that is misinterpreted. They have a proportionate, muscular, and fit physique that makes them nimble and energetic. American Pit Bull Terriers weigh between 25 and 30 kilograms for males and 20 to 25 kilograms for females. An American Pit Bull's height ranges from 46 to 49 centimeters for males and 43 to 46 centimeters for females. 12 years are expected to pass. Malinois. With the physique of a Belgian sheepdog, the Malinois is squarely built, well-muscled, and has taut skin. The head's total size need to be proportionate to the body. The skull's apex is flattened as opposed to rounded. The muzzle has a moderate stop and a moderate point. The dog's bite should be scissors-like or even, and its lips should be tight. The almond-shaped, medium-sized eyes are brown. The triangular erect ears are symmetrical with respect to the head. The legs are robust, parallel, and straight. The tailbone extends to the hock and the tail feathers are robust at the base. Usually the dew claws are removed. The form of the foot is cat-like. The medium-length, weather-resistant coat has fringe on the legs, tail, and beneath the torso, in addition to a ruff around the neck. The coat is completely black, although it may have a hint of white on the toes, chin, or chest. If given enough exercise, a Belgian Shepherd Malinois may survive in an apartment. It needs at least an average-sized yard because it is rather active indoors. The Malinois can sleep outside, but he would rather be with his pack. Bulldogs in America. American bulldogs are wonderful, loving, and protective family pets because they are perceptive and kind. They come in several varieties, such as the bully or classic type, also called the Johnson type, the standard or performance type, also called the Scott type, and blends of the two. But they all have high activity requirements and demand an experienced, active pet parent. This breed is significantly taller than French or English bulldogs. When an American bulldog puppy reaches adulthood, they should weigh between 60 and 120 pounds and measure 20 to 28 inches in height. Notwithstanding the fact that these dimensions are thought to be typical for the breed, American bulldogs can vary greatly in size. The average lifespan of an American bulldog is between 10 and 16 years, making them a generally healthy breed. Some people are more susceptible to specific illnesses like hypothyroidism, mange, or cataracts. They may get elbow or hip dysplasia if they are obese from an early age. American bulldogs may be excellent watchdogs since they are territorial and cautious of strangers. For them to learn appropriate behavior among invited visitors, socialization and training are necessary. Medium-sized domestic dog breeds called Rottweilers were first used to pull carts and herd cattle. They are employed by the police, as well as search and guiding dogs. They rank among the world's greatest security canines. They are what they were raised to be, and this is because of their robust and fearless nature, Rottweilers are among the toughest dog breeds. However, training is essential to maintaining control over their temperament. They are fierce animals if improperly taught. Their social abilities are also influenced by their education. Rottweilers may be hostile against strangers and are fiercely protective of their owners. They are highly clever and may become cool and collected with the right training. Although they are nice animals by nature, improper training may make them violent. Male Rottweilers may weigh between 50 and 60 kilos, while females can weigh between 35 and 48 kg. Males can range in height from 61 to 69 centimeters, while females can reach heights of 56 to 63 centimeters. Rottweilers have a 10-year lifespan and are extremely adaptable canines. German Shepherds, sometimes called Deutscher Schäferhunds, are medium-sized working dogs of German origins. They were originally developed to herd sheep, but they have since been employed in a wide range of occupations. German Shepherds possess incredible strength and power. They are extremely strong and intelligent. They pick things up fast and are simple to train. These factors account for their present usage in numerous military positions, as well as in police teams. In the US, German Shepherds rank as the second most popular breed of dogs. They pick things very quickly and are highly clever. They also heed orders promptly, following them 98% of the time when they are given. A German Shepherd that has received proper training will be extremely submissive and peaceful, while an untrained dog may become hostile. They may grow violent and overly possessive of their territory if they are not raised appropriately. German Shepherd heights range from 60 to 65 centimeters for males and 55 to 60 centimeters for females. Males of the breed typically weigh between 30 and 40 kilograms, while females typically weigh between 22 and 32 kilograms. German Shepherds live for an average of 11 years. Shepherd dogs from Central Asia. For thousands of years, people who have lived nomadic lifestyles have valued and bred the Central Asian Shepherd, an old canine breed with several uses. More recently, the government and military have utilized this dog, taking advantage of its formidable size and remarkable power to protect cattle and fend off predators. The head has a prominent top cranium and is rather substantial. The neck is short, muscular, and low-set. The muscles are proportional and somewhat flat, and the body is very wide. The development of fake ribs makes the rib cage look extremely lengthy. The legs have relatively pronounced angulation, strong boning, and are straight. Leg bones need to be proportionate and never appear to be shorter than other bones. The rear end is wide. The Central Asian Shepherd can trot for hours on end without tiring out despite their usual pace. These robust and brave canines were vital to nomadic farmers in defending their priceless livestock against mountain predators like wolves, bears, and jackals. The Central Asian Shepherd will attentively watch for any hungry predator for hours at a time while surrounded by its flock. They usually patrol the land in groups, barking to warn the other nomads of any potential threats. Similarly, the Central Asian Shepherd will attack and repel any predator that tries to attack and consume any of the cattle. These dogs are often quite bold, clever, and self-assured. Although they are not very hostile, they will fight without hesitation if they believe their owner is in serious danger and will defend their owners till the very end. Additionally, they are inherently suspicious of outsiders and will notify their owners right once if they see something unusual. They also make great security dogs and watchdogs because of their powerful booming bark. I appreciate you seeing. Would you kindly like and post the video on social media? We promise to get back to you as soon as we can. Although the fossils proved unicorns existed, scientists still find unicorns to be fairly scary. A vast number of kids worldwide have grown up hearing stories about unicorns, thanks to the portrayals of these lovely creatures in films like As Legend, the Harry Potter series, and the My Little Pony franchise. Kids are more likely to have nightmares than pleasant dreams when they see the genuine creatures that are the subject of unicorn mythology. Legends surrounding unicorns existed long before Hasbro produced its first plastic toy in a rainbow of colors. Of fact, the mythical animals were connected to Greek stories, but the ancient Greeks saw them as actual living animals from India rather than mythological figures. Nor were these ancient unicorns the elegant animals that we imagine them to be. In reality, the oldest description of them dates back to the 5th century BC, and Greek writers like Ctesias described them as untamed asses with long horns. Then, in the 1st century AD, Pliny the Elder tells us about them. According to Pliny, they resemble horses overall, but had the head of a stag, the feet of an elephant, and the tail of a pig. Not that the tail of the single-horned supernatural beast is exclusive to Europe. The Qilin and Kirin, the respective unicorns of China and Japan, are both distinct species. It was thought that the Qilin appeared prior to the birth or demise of a significant person. With a lion's head, a scaly green deer's body, and a curled horn, it wasn't quite horse-like. Some individuals think there are allusions to unicorns in the Bible as well. Most academics, however, contend that this is merely an incorrect translation of the Hebrew term rem. Though the phrase most likely relates to an old kind of ox, these beasts are actually referenced 9 times in the sacred writings, where they are emblems of power. Furthermore, unicorns were still associated with strength far into the Middle Ages. For example, Cosmus Indicopleustis, an Alexandrian trader and traveler of the 6th century, relayed Ethiopian tales of the unicorn as a fierce animal whose power came from its horn. The unicorn was likewise characterized as a powerful animal by Saint Isidore of Seville, who lived in the 7th century. That scholar did indeed claim that the monster could stab elephants in the stomach and kill them. Nonetheless, unicorns were still occasionally classified as more akin to wild goats or asses during this period, and were not yet recognized as magical horses. Many people believed throughout the Middle Ages that alicorn, or unicorn horns, were made of that material. It was thought that the growths have magical abilities that could neutralize poison and heal both physical and mental illnesses. The Vikings were one tribe who benefited greatly from this notion, since they conducted a prosperous trade in narwhal horns from the Arctic Ocean. Yes, the whale's tusks were sold as unicorn horns by the mariners. The oryx, eland, and aurochs are some actual creatures that could have served as inspiration for the unicorn story. Perhaps animals with 2 horns that had lost 1 horn due to conflict or mutations did the same. The Indian rhinoceros is another option. As we'll see, the unicorn myth may have sprung from anything resembling a real rhinoceros. Gotthilf Fischer von Waldheim, the head of Moscow State University's Natural History Museum, named the Elasmotherium, a newly found genus, in 1808. It was previously thought that the Elasmotherium had been extinct for 350,000 years, and that the only way to identify it was through fossils. Scientists in the 19th century surmised that the Elasmotherium could only have had 1 horn. Russian naturalist Alexander Brandt stated, "The whole analogy with the rhinoceros points with the greatest certainty to the previous existence of a horn, which must have possessed enormous dimensions, to judge from the size of the blood vessels once encircling the base." Brandt thought that a belief among the Tatar people about a unicorn with a massive horn originated from the Siberian Elasmotherium, Elasmotherium sibiricum. However, no people would have been around to see them at that time, as the Elasmotherium was believed to have vanished some 350,000 years ago. Then, in Kazakhstan, an Elasmotherium skull was discovered in March 2016. Furthermore, this changed matters by placing the date of extinction considerably later, at only 29,000 years ago. At least now there was a possibility that the Elasmotherium had survived long enough for humans to observe it and give rise to the myth of the unicorn. Regretfully, for individuals who prefer to imagine unicorns as elegant white-haired equines that appear on posters, frequently with rainbows illuminating the backdrop, the Elasmotherium was everything but delicate. Its shape was more akin to a scary monster rhinoceros than an ethereal pony. Indeed, Elasmotherium sibiricum would have been a terrifying sight, towering 15 feet long, 6 or 7 feet tall, and probably coated in fur similar to that of a mammoth. These enormous creatures each weighed around 4.5 tons, and although the horn's exact dimensions are unknown, it may have measured up to 6 feet in length. Elasmotherium sibiricum inhabited what is now Western Siberia, as its name largely indicates. They were also found farther south into what is now Eastern Europe and in the southwest of modern-day Russia. Though it had a terrifying aspect, the monster was actually a herbivore that grazed throughout vast territories, much like a modern rhinoceros. Paleontologist Andrei Pansine told Phys.org that the south of Western Siberia was probably a refugium where this rhino survived the longest compared to the rest of its range. Another option is that it may go to the more southern regions and stay there for a time. Nevertheless, it's not a given that humans came into contact with the Elasmotherium, even though it's a possibility. Some people believe the legends about the animal have persisted from the prehistoric age, including Willy Ley, a cryptozoologist. Some tales, meanwhile, such as the one written by the traveler Ahmad ibn Fadlan in the 10th century, appear to depict the enormous rhinoceros too precisely to be a fable. Stories from the areas where the unicorn used to reside, however, often include unicorns that resemble Elasmotherium more than the Western version does. An ancient Turkic manuscript, for instance, describes the Chinese qilin as a quadruped with the head of a sheep, the body of a deer, the limbs of a horse, the hooves of a cow, and a large horn. So when exactly did unicorns go extinct? As of right now, more evidence is continually being uncovered, so nobody is certain. On the other hand, one idea supported by a preserved Siberian elasmotherium skull holds that a meteor strike caused their extinction. Alternatively, environmental change could have claimed their lives. Scientists are still trying to find a solution. Off the coast of Belgium, a German World War I U-boat was discovered with the eerie bodies of 23 crewmen still within. German submarines, often known as U-boats, engaged in a severely damaging campaign against British commerce during World War I. Preventing food supplies and raw resources from reaching Britain for the war effort was one of the Germans' objectives. U-boats sunk around 5,000 British ships throughout the war, but they also lost 178 boats and almost 5,000 submariners in the process. One of those U-boats has now been discovered off the coast of Belgium, 100 years after it sank. The Lusitania's sinking off the coast of Ireland in 1915 highlighted the submarine's horrifying potential as a weapon of war. The ship carried 1,962 passengers and crew members as it departed New York for Liverpool, England. With just one torpedo, the German submarine U-20 destroyed the ship, killing 1,198 people, mostly from drowning or hypothermia, when it became clear that the First World War would be a protracted and attritional conflict. Sentiments hardened on both sides, British and German. By strengthening their blockade of German ports, the British tightened their grip on German maritime trade. The Royal Navy declared in November 1914 that all vessels in the North Sea was open for business. The British also said that they would consider as a lawful attack any ship bringing supplies to Germany. The British were perceived by the Germans as attempting to starve Germany's civilian population, which incensed them. The Germans believed that the U-boat was their best option since the British Navy was stronger than theirs. In February 1915, the Germans issued a proclamation of their own, threatening to destroy any ships in the waters surrounding Britain. The Royal Navy responded by formulating strategies meant to minimize the harm that U-boat assaults may do. Ships were instructed to attempt to ram submarines or to escape from them. The wrath of the Americans, who had lost 128 of their compatriots in the sinking of the Lusitania, had been causing the Germans considerable concern. The submarine war was mainly abandoned in the North Sea and the Atlantic because they were afraid of inciting the neutral United States to join the British side in the conflict. Still, activities went on in the Mediterranean and other oceans. However, the Germans once more resorted to the notion of an all-out submarine war as World War I dragged on. Since they only sunk a small portion of the merchant fleet, their actions early in the war had really had little effect on British trade. However, a German admiral now believed he had a workable strategy. Admiral Henning von Holzendorf thought that if the U-boats could sink 600,000 tons of commerce ships each month, that would be a decisive blow to the British. Dr. Richard Fuss, who had asserted that destroying shipping in such large quantities would bring the British to their knees in 6 months, served as the inspiration for this idea. The German Kaiser was informed by military leader Paul von Hindenburg that the war needed to finish quickly and in whatever way possible. As a result, on February 1, 1917, the Kaiser gave the go-ahead for the unrestricted U-boat raids to resume. This increasing hostility on the high seas was initially seen as a German victory. The campaign's initial months saw the 600,000-ton objective either nearly met or surpassed. To try and stop the attacks, the British instituted a convoy system in May 1917. Losses were quickly decreased by these convoys, which comprised groups of merchantmen protected by Royal Navy ships. The U-boats suffered greater losses as a result of the system, as they were more likely to encounter heavily equipped Royal Navy ships, though still very serious. The U-boat menace had been minimized by 1918, the last year of World War I. The German danger was being diminished in part because many more U-boats were being sunk and because mines were being laid effectively. When the war ended in November 1918, the Allies seized and destroyed every U-boat that remained. In 1916, one specific U-boat, a UB-2 class submarine with the designation UB-29, was lost in seas around Belgium, The Belgian marine archaeologist Thomas Termote has spent years searching seabeds for wrecks related to the whereabouts of the wreck of this U-boat and the fate of its crew for over a century. The ship was attacked in December by the Royal Navy cruiser HMS Landrail. Termote has actually completed almost 5,000 dives in the North Sea alone. He underwent scuba diving in the summer of 2017 at an area close to Ostend, Belgium, off the coast of Belgium. The exact location is being kept under wraps. That secrecy stemmed from the fact that Termote had discovered the wreckage of UB-29, albeit additional dives were required to determine its exact identity. "I recognized this was a German U-boat right away," Termote stated to the New York Times. Covered with orange, red, and yellow flowers, seaweed, and marine vegetation, the submarine appeared astonishingly undamaged. The site of the wreck was kept a secret by Termote and the Belgian authorities to prevent thieves from taking advantage of it. There was also another reason. The marine archaeologist thought this U-boat may actually be a war cemetery. "We're certain that the crew is dead and still inside, probably buried in the sand, though it's possible that some escaped," Termote stated to the New York Times according to archival archives. UB-29 embarked on its final journey on November 27, 1916, carrying a crew of 22 people. Although Termote has confirmed that the boat is physically intact, there is evident damage to the bow. This implies that it could have struck a mine. He speculates that the ship could have struck the mine when returning to port after being damaged in an attempt, most likely by HMS Landrail. During the First World War, 93 German U-boats were stationed in Belgian ports, and between them, they sunk about 2,550 ships. This was a very terrifying but extremely strong strike rate. Roughly 70 of the 93 U-boats that were launched from Belgian ports were annihilated. German sailors also suffered a heavy loss. Over 1,200 of them died. The UB-2 class submarines could dive to a depth of around 160 feet. They were 82 feet long and at their widest point, about 20 feet broad. The submarines were outfitted with an on-deck armament for surface attacks and surfaced events, as well as 2 torpedo tubes on their bows. The UB-29 wreck has recently been requested by the German government to be designated as a war cemetery by the Belgian authorities. The German ambassador to Belgium stated in an interview with the Associated Press, "Graves should be graves. That is to say, they should be protected and will rest in peace." Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.